Who were you in a past life? Who are you now? Let's look at your past life and past lives in general, and who you might have been, what you might be, and at the very end, we're going to talk a little bit about soul contracts and why they're important and why they're not. So stick around to the end. Hi, this is Blake Cahoon of the Angelic Path. I am a psychic medium channel. If you're new to this channel, thank you for showing up. Thank you for being part of this audience. And today we're going to talk about past lives. So, everybody has one. You have one. I certainly had several. And you could be a new soul or an old soul. But everybody, if you're a brand new soul, if you've not been on this earth plane for very long, and you've not had too many past lives, this video is not going to interest you because you're not ready for this type of information. And that's not a slam. The exception to that is if you're an advanced soul. That isn't a slam. That's just what my guides, the Divine Guidance team, have taught me over the years. If you're into the spirituality game, which is what this channel is all about, most people who are interested in past lives and reincarnation and angels and ascended masters and all crystals and all the new stuff and the new spirituality stuff that's going on, you probably had about 300 to 500 lifetimes you've already lived. So if you've gotten a lot out of your system and a lot of belief systems, you've moved beyond a lot of those belief systems. A lot of those belief systems are the old paradigms. We're moving into a new age where there are changes coming, and they're here. Sometimes those are painful, but go with the flow. But as a spiritual person or somebody who has moved away and find that your church or your mosque or your temple isn't giving you quite what you once got from it, you're in the right place, and you've probably had 300 to 500 lifetimes already. So yeah, you're a little bit more advanced than somebody who's just coming in and they're just learning about this plane of existence. So how do you decide, okay, so I've been here, but who was I? What did I do? Maybe you're curious about things. Maybe some of you have already figured out some of your past lives. So for those of you who want to know who you used to be, look at what interests you now. What kind of interests do you have? Do you have any interest in history? And if you do, then what period of history do you like? What countries on planet Earth do you like? Now, for those of you who are really into the space, it simply means that you probably came from a different planet and a different lifetime on another planet. You've got a profound sense of wanting to be among the stars, or you have a great deal of empathy and really want to be like an anthropologist here on Earth. Then you probably came from there and came here to study us. And you became us as a result of that. That's coming from the team. New information, I didn't even write that down in my notes. So that's how you can tell. It's like, for instance, I had a friend who said, I love Gone with the Wind. And I'm like, that's probably because you lived in the Civil War, at the time period of the Civil War, and it was profoundly impacting you at the time. My sister's really into France, so I'm sure that some past life she lived in Paris. Now, some of you love the whole medieval England thing. You love everything British. Maybe you like British mysteries and novels. Maybe you're really into the Renaissance fairs. Maybe you're into cosplay. Maybe you're into costume, historic costume. Maybe you certain love for television shows, movies. Those will all give you a clue. If you gravitate towards a subject matter, chances are you had a past life in that time period. Speaking of time periods, one of the things that I found very interesting when I started learning about this was I always thought that it was linear. Past lives were linear. In other words, let's say I was born in the 1700 and I lived to 1743, so my next life might start in 1748. I spent some time in heaven, and so then in 1748, I lived for a little longer, let's say 1500. I was very long-lived that time. In 1500, I lived till 1525, didn't live very long. Of course, back then you didn't. So, and it went on and on and on until present day. No. So there can be overlap. And there can be overlap because of dimensions, because of dimensions. So, as you can see, they can overlap. This dimension was the 1500 to 1525. Then next time might be 1520 to 1560. But it's a different plane. See how I'm over there, two different ones? And so it's not linear. It can overlap, and that's because of the dimension factor. It can be linear, but it doesn't have to be, which is why technically, yeah, you could be coming back in another, but it's separated by dimensions, so don't worry about trying to meet yourself. So how do you get in touch with who you used to be? I asked the team just prior to recording this, and this is what they said. First of all, you want to ask Archangel Raphael, who's all about healing. You want to ask Archangel Michael, who is about protection and strength. And you want to ask Archangel Metatron, who's in charge of Akashic Records. Now, Akashic Records are the book of life. You hear about it in the Bible. A lot of people know about it in the spiritual field. It's accessing your specific book of life. And it's not just this life. It's your past lives and your future lives. Now, before we get into future lives, let's concentrate on finding out who you were in the last or two lifetimes ago. Again, you may want to concentrate on a life that is most impactful to you, because sometimes you take some of that stuff from that past life and move it into this life. And there are people who can remove blockages from that. But this is one of the reasons why we ask Archangel Raphael to join us, because he can help heal this situation, even as Archangel Michael gives you strength and Archangel Metatron actually shows you a past life or two. I wouldn't recommend doing more than one past life at a time. So what you want to do is get into a place that you're comfortable, put some soft music on, and sit up. Sit up if you find you're going to go into a meditative state. So some people fall asleep, which is fine because you might actually dream about a past life. But you want to get into a position, sit up if you need to, if you feel like you're going to fall asleep. But what you want to do is get into a nice meditative state, do the deep breathing, breathe in, hold, let it go. Do that 3 or 4 times, that'll calm you down. And then ask Archangel Raphael, Michael, and Metatron to join you. You can simply say, Archangel Raphael, Archangel Michael, Archangel Metatron, please join me now and give me insights to a most recent or impactful, or both, past life of mine, so I can gain insights more into who I am and where I came from. And so what you want to do is get relaxed. You might want to have a notepad and pencil near your side to jot down anything that does come to you. But just allow them to feed you images or sounds or impressions or feelings about a past life. Do this for about 10 minutes at a time. 10 minutes should do. Now, for me, when I started this, I asked and I got, but that's just me. But it came in, the images just flowed and flowed and flowed from many past lives, and I got a whole bunch of stuff that was downloaded to me. It was a little overwhelming, and if that starts happening to you, ask them to hold up, get one at a time, one lifetime at a time, so that you can absorb, observe, get the information you want. You can ask questions while you're doing this and see what comes to you. Now, it may take a few times, and it's probably best if you make sure there's no distractions. If you find you cannot, because a lot of people, this takes practice, or you don't have the time or patience to practice this sort of thing. And oh, by the way, at the end, you want to thank them when you come out of this, and thank them, put some notes down, and then you can do it again in another week. Give yourself a few days between asking. But if you feel like you can't do this, don't want to do this, there are people who can help you do this. Yes, I do this. So it's under personal consulting under the website. But yeah, there are people, you don't have to go with me, maybe you know somebody else that's good for you. But if you want to, there are people who can lead you and tune in and read your Akashic record for you, tune into your past lives, and give you a lot of great insights about certain things that you hadn't thought about, or certain things that it's now clear why you do certain things in this lifetime as a result of a past lifetime. Now, soul contracts. I was going to do a whole separate video on this, so I'm just going to touch base, and I'm going to go into it in another video too. But soul contracts. Soul contracts are made by you. They can be broken by you. And I'm going to leave it there. You don't have to adhere to a soul contract, okay? This is your escape clause. This is your permission to break it. We'll go into that in another video at a later date. So, I hope this gives you some insights to past lives. It's a fascinating study. We used to do a whole class. If you're interested in doing a class with me, we may resurrect that. And in the meantime, I hope you got something out of this. Have a great one. Until next time, many blessings.